Morning, guys. Morning, Deborah. So, hi, it's Louis in southwest UK, near Bristol. Of course, you all know that I adore Elvis. Anything Elvis, I love to talk about. We have this amazing channel that is slowly growing, defending Elvis, search for the truth. And that is our mission, guys. Our mission is whenever we read or hear or watch anything that we feel is unfair to Elvis, things that are being said about him, we're going to disagree and we're going to try and prove that the things that are being said about Elvis are very unfair and very one-sided. So we're not just talking about Priscilla Presley, we're also talking about certain Memphis Mafia members, some ex-girlfriends, Colonel Tom Parker, and the way he managed Elvis, and many other things. I always say this, guys, and I always pick up this book, and I always say the same thing, that this book, when it was written by Priscilla Presley with help from Sandra Harmon, is completely unfair to Elvis. And the reason I say it's unfair is because Elvis had no say in the writing of this book. And the world, for the last 40 odd years, believe that this book is actual events and actual history. And it's not. This is Priscilla's version of things, how she saw things, her point of view from her life, how she felt. I also believe that this book was written in a way, in my opinion, to get people to see her as a victim. It also paints her life that when she met Elvis way back in 1959 in Germany, that her life was a struggle. I don't believe that. I think Priscilla went from rags to riches. And I think the life that she moved to when she moved to Graceland was a dream life. But I also believe that Priscilla had different plans. It wasn't just about falling for Elvis, being infatuated with Elvis. There was a big plan to become part of his world and what comes with being part of Elvis's world. So don't forget, when you enter Elvis's world, especially after 1960, you're entering Disney World, aren't you? Yeah, you're entering success that you can only dream about. We're not just talking about homes and cars. We're all talking about money and surroundings and the people you mix with, the people you meet, the lifestyle. There is no comparison to the life that Priscilla was having with her parents, especially in Germany, to the lifestyle that we feel that she pushed for when writing letters to Elvis, asking him to ask her parents if it was okay for her to move to Graceland. At first, she holidayed there. So I think, you know, when we talk about this book, you know, I say this to the Priscilla fans, because Priscilla fans are Elvis fans. I don't care what anyone says to me. That's my opinion. What I say is, you have to put yourself in Priscilla's shoes in 1959, that from nowhere she meets Elvis because of Cary Grant. And of course, she thinks he's beautiful and charming and lovely to be with. And she's amazed that Elvis is giving her any attention. She can't believe it because he could have any girl in the world. But in a weird sort of way, I see that he's caught in a trap, guys. He's caught in a trap. Goes with the song, doesn't it? And I'll tell you why. Because Elvis was taken by her beauty. Even though she was so young, he did find that she had the looks that, even though it was a large age gap. He was 24, she was 14. Her looks took your breath away. And not just Elvis's, any man. Cary Grant, the guy who introduced her to Elvis. Now you think about it, guys. You think about it. Why? 1 minute, Sue. I'll just comment on that. You think about it, guys. Why do you think Cary Grant was so taken by Priscilla, even though he was married and she was so young? And it could only be that she just had a look that weakened most men. So I completely understand that when she visited Elvis's home in Germany, that Elvis was quite stricken by her beauty. But then we have this book. This book shows a completely different story that shows that there was a plan to get Elvis that involved the parent, the mother, and that Priscilla was very cunning and saw possibilities, unbelievable, dreamlike possibilities, if she could make things work and one day meet Elvis. So we don't know if this book's true, do we, guys? We don't know. We just know that this may be true because the witnesses did lie detectors. Yeah. So what are we trying to do on this channel, guys? We're trying to defend Elvis from the things in this book that are just very unfair to him, where he can't defend himself. But we're also trying to find out if this book is true or if there's some truth to this book. And finding the truth isn't straightforward, because I personally think to find the truth, we have to see both points of view. I know sometimes you guys, when I'm trying to say that they both made mistakes, some of you guys don't like it because you're very anti-Priscilla. But I'm 100% with Elvis. But I feel that we have to see Priscilla's point of view to understand what was happening. So we have the point of view from this book, the point of view from this book. As the decades go on, the different things that were happening. So Elvis going off making his movies and through the 60s. We have, then he gets his second comeback. His first comeback, the 68 comeback special. And then the second comeback, I call it a second comeback, when he in Vegas in 69 onwards. Elvis had two massive comebacks, and the lifestyle Elvis chose with these comebacks. We also have when Elvis moved back to to America, and we know that famous train journey that brings him back on his way to do the Frank Sinatra special. And Nancy Sinatra has met him and giving Elvis a gift from Frank Sinatra. I think it was a silk shirt. And Nancy meets Elvis. And Elvis, his whole future is just about to explode again in 1960 after a couple of years being in the army. And he was very insecure. He was very unsure, wasn't he? He wasn't sure how things were going to go. He didn't know if he'd been forgotten. He didn't know if his movies were going to be a success. Even the Frank Sinatra show, he wasn't sure how well it would do. We know in hindsight that Frank Sinatra show was fantastic and went around the world and catapulted him to the mainstream public around the world, and that included families. He was accepted by all age groups once he did the Frank Sinatra special. And then he goes on to do the Juliet Prowse film, G.I. Blues, and he becomes friends with Juliet Prowse, who I think may have been once engaged to Frank Sinatra. And also he does some RCA Victor albums as well, coming home albums. So Elvis there's a period of time when Elvis, so he befriended Priscilla. They obviously were very good friends, and he poured his heart out to her, especially about his mother and his worries about the future. Probably made a lot of promises to Priscilla. But then he goes back to his world. Yeah. So then you have Priscilla left in Germany, wondering if Elvis will ever contact her again. And we don't really know the actual total truth on why Elvis eventually got to the decision of allowing Priscilla to move to Germany. There's different versions of it. Yeah. Now, obviously, we've got the child bride version, which many people believe it was a cunning plan. Yeah. That was set in stone before she even moved to Germany. She'd heard that Elvis was going to be staying close by to where she was going to be living with her father and mother. And the child bride book goes into detail about this cunning plan. And Cary Grant was part of this plan. It even says sex for favors with Cary Grant as a way of introducing Priscilla to Elvis. So we don't know the truth, guys. So what I've been trying to do, especially in the last 3 days, is, well, come on then, let's try and put ourselves in Priscilla's shoes. Yeah, she is pining for him. He's gone. He's in America. He's doing the Frank Sinatra special and making the move, GI Blues, etc. So what we're trying to do is, okay, so she's there pining for him. Where is her mindset? What is her plan? Why did Elvis eventually give the green light for her to move to Germany? Then we've got, she moves to America. I think initially it was said that she has to stay with Vernon and Dee. This was agreed by the parents. Obviously, the education, Elvis promised to make sure she fulfilled her education. But we know that when she came over, when she actually moved in, she had a couple of holidays, but I think around 63, she actually moves in, and she's about to turn 18. Again, this has been told incorrectly in this book, because in this book she says she's 16, I think, which is not true. But anyway, in my opinion. So then she moves there, but Elvis has a double life. He does. He's in America. He's seeing other people. Anne Margaret is the well-known one, but there's other people, isn't there? Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that, so we can't ignore the fact that when Priscilla first moved to America, whatever her plan is, whatever her intention is long-term, money, fame, attention, spotlight, whatever her plans were, Elvis did have another life with the Memphis Mafia, and they were going off making these movies, sometimes 3 a year, generally 2 movies a year, but sometimes 3. And he was going away for months at a time. So we have to put ourselves in Priscilla's shoes. There was definitely about 3 years Elvis was going off, and she was back home in luxury with friends and family, with the wives of the Memphis Mafia. So we put ourselves there, what she was going through. It must have been tough. It must have been, guys. As much as we like or dislike Priscilla, you can't ignore those 3 years. Now, then I believe, as we get nearer to the end of 1966, Elvis is under a lot of pressure. So he's contemplating asking her to get married. And we don't really know the actual reasons. But at some point, he proposes and they get married, I think in December 66. And this is where we see a changing Elvis. Don't forget, he's been making quite a few movies for about 6 years. He's sick of the movies by then. He's known to have had different affairs with different co-stars. I wouldn't even call them affairs until after the marriage. But Elvis, I feel, he acted like a single man until we got engaged. That's just my opinion, guys. And then we have the engagement, we have the marriage in May the 1st. We know the story. We've all seen the footage. We know that he got taken there on Frank Sinatra's aeroplane. Beautiful footage, beautiful pictures. And then within 9 months, the baby's born, lovely Lisa Marie. And we've all seen the pictures that were beamed around the world in all the magazines and tabloids. And then wham, you get this atomic bomb explosion. Lisa Marie is born, and she's unfaithful within 6 to 8 weeks of Lisa Marie being born. Now, the big question that I keep asking, and I'm asking you guys, and I keep really going over the same thing. What led Priscilla weeks after the baby's born, within a year of the marriage, to take the decision to be unfaithful to Steve Peck? What was going on in her mind? You know, the guy who owned the dance studio, the guy who was her dance instructor. What is it, guys? I can't get to it. I can't get to it. I asked my brother, and he said to me that there was pent up, I don't think anger is the right word. He said that my brother said to me, he feels that the way she was treated through the movie years, there was a build up. Yeah, a build up inside her. And that it coincided, you know, with the time they got engaged and married and the pregnancy, being left alone, Elvis going off, living a double life. And he feels that she didn't get the attention that she craved. She was left alone too much. And this is why she made this massive mistake of being unfaithful. But I tell you what, I ask you guys, you try and explain it, because I can't. And then I personally think that as soon as Elvis found that out, he went crazy. He definitely was not going to sleep with her. And then we have this charade marriage for the next 2 or 3 years where they're carrying on as if nothing's happened, aren't they? They're going to Tom Jones shows. They're going to Muhammad Ali. They go to the JC Awards. They spend an Easter together, a Christmas together, and they're just living life as if nothing has gone wrong. And then it's just all fake news. And I also think Elvis had distanced himself even more after the affair, even though he was making more of an effort because they went on holiday a few times. I think publicly Elvis was making more of an effort with Priscilla. But then we got the Mike Stone affair that secretly happened for a year before Elvis found out. So my mind is saying, well, what was going on in Priscilla's mind between after being caught being unfaithful and then finally meeting Mike Stone and seeing a way for her to get away from Elvis, and that she had clearly made up her mind that she wanted a divorce. But she had made up her mind first before she actioned it. And then if you look at Mike Stone's interviews, he says that when he met Priscilla in middle to the end of 71, she had clearly made up her mind that she wanted a divorce from Elvis. Yeah. And that she made a beeline. She made a beeline for Mike Stone. She had a plan in action, and she was going to get away from Elvis using Mike Stone. And I think Mike Stone was really used. And then it's obvious that once Elvis found out about Mike Stone, that it was game over. There's no way there's no way Elvis was going to accept that she had gone on and had another affair. But we have to also accept, guys, that between 68 and 71, Elvis was also living his own life, and he was seeing other people as well. But I personally feel that the reason he was because in his heart, the relationship was finished. So, and then obviously you guys know how upset I am about the divorce settlement that went on, the second divorce settlement. I think Priscilla really publicly shamed Elvis. Now, from Priscilla's point of view, she'll say that she was publicly shamed, because I'm sure that when Elvis was having his affairs with certain co-stars, and like Susan Henning, for example, in 68 Comeback, I think Love a Little, Live a Little, it was in the magazines and tabloids then. So, you know, they both had public humiliation. They both did. So it was a mess. It was a mess, guys. And I don't see how they ever were going to find their way out of this mess. And I think we could speak all day about Priscilla's wrongdoing, Elvis's wrongdoing, but the bottom line is the whole thing is tragic. It's a mess. Whether we believe this, which you know I don't, I think this is very unfair to Elvis, or whether we believe this, and I think this is probably a bit nearer to the truth, but it's just an opinion, they were never, ever going to be happy. It was never going to work. So the Priscilla fans that believe in the fairy tale and just think the only reason that it went wrong was because Elvis took drugs and because Elvis was unfaithful, you're so far away from the truth. So far away from the truth. They just weren't meant to be, guys. It wasn't going to be the lovely fairy tale that we'd all bought into in the 60s and 70s, that, oh, they were a lovely couple, but Elvis ruined things. That's just so far from the truth. They were both making massive mistakes. They had both committed to something that long term was never going to work. Elvis, because he was, once he became famous, Elvis was not cut out to be a faithful, loyal man. He wasn't. He had a life to live. Priscilla was never going to get Elvis to herself because the fame had completely changed him. If she had met Elvis pre-fame, an Elvis that was never going to become famous, maybe they had a chance. But Elvis, who came back on that train journey to the Frank Sinatra show, all the crowds all along the lines were already waving to wave at him. That Elvis was never going to work out with Priscilla. I really believe that, guys. So I just want to warm my coffee, then I'm going to go through your comments. So you get what I'm trying to say to you. I'm trying to say that as much as there was wrongdoing, and I do believe that in many ways Priscilla did more wrong than Elvis. I do believe that, because I actually think Elvis was much kinder than Priscilla. I think Elvis had a heart of gold. So I do believe that Priscilla, this is only my opinion, guys, I do believe that Priscilla, this is just an opinion, was much more cold-hearted than Elvis. I don't think that Elvis had it in him to be cruel. I really don't. I think that when you look at the divorce settlement, the second one, and the fact that it all happened when Elvis was so unwell, and it was happening during the release of the Memphis Mafia book. And Elvis looked so unwell. And don't forget, they were in regular contact, Priscilla and Elvis. So she knew he was unwell. So when I see these interviews and it's saying, and she says, oh, it was a complete shock that he died. No, and even the Memphis Mafia, some of them say it wasn't a shock, guys. It was so obvious that he was really unwell. I personally don't think that, because Elvis was such a proud man, I actually don't think that anyone knew just how unwell Elvis was unless they were very close to him, giving him the pills, giving him the medication. His doctor and I think the Stanley boys, things like that. The people very close to Elvis knew just how unwell he was. But I do think that Priscilla must have known that he could die at any moment. I do believe that. So when she was literally harassing him for this divorce settlement, which led to the deed of trust, the lien, the charge being put on Graceland, she must have known. She must have known. So I see a cruelty in that. I see a heartless attempt to grab more money and to be part owner of Graceland. And this, I think, for me, the Mike Stone affair, the 68 comeback, and the 68 affair with Steve Peck, and the divorce settlement, those three things completely have turned my head in favor of Elvis. Yeah. And then going forward with the Barry Siegel situation and the way that Barry Siegel and Priscilla plotted behind Lisa Marie's back, these four things are probably the crucial things that really get to me more than everything else. There's so many things that happen, thousands of things that happen, but those four things, they really get to me. And I feel for Elvis because I think in the end, everything was going wrong for Elvis. I also believe Priscilla was a big part of that, and the Memphis Mafia. So I just wanted to, before we read the comments, let's have a look. I just want to thank everyone for my birthday wishes yesterday. You guys are too kind for me. I reckon I've had 200 happy birthdays. That's so good. And Anyone talking about my wife? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Being positive is what we're going to be. That's how we're going to be. It's tough to be positive, but we're going to be. So, and I did want to just quickly say that I wanted to say the new members. Now, obviously, please subscribe, guys. 78% of you don't subscribe. Please subscribe. It's really important. Hit the notification bell so when we go live, we come together quick. Unfortunately, because of the kids, I can't give you actual times that I'm going live because different things are happening. And even more, now I'm looking after my wife at the moment. It's even more so. I can't give times. So what I tend to do is wait for a little break in the day and then I quickly do a live, which is good because it takes my mind off anything negative. So we had, let's have a look. We had, just so you know, it's only 99 cents or 99p English money to be a member. It's not about the money. It's a very small amount of money. It's something like $12 a year. But I am trying to build up a membership base and I want to create an app that all members can join for free, that we can talk to each other 24/7 and upload research and videos. And we can be a community together on this app. I've been looking into it this morning. I think there's going to be a cost to it, but I'm going to suss it all out. And so we can join this app and just talk to each other whenever we want. Message each other, upload videos, pictures. We can have one-to-one chats or we can have group chats. We can also do more live streams. So this is my plan with the membership. Yeah. So please join. It means everything to me. We've only got a few members. I think we've got 24 members. It's very early. It's very early days with the membership. But I'm so proud of all of you for joining. And the ones that joined yesterday, we got. Let's have a look. We've got. I'll go. We've got Christine Kingston. Hi, Christine. Then we've got Carolyn. Then we've got Lily Ramos. And Faye Simon, and Drew, and Linda Cudden, and Jean Newbeck, and Jane Treenall. So these are the recent ones, but I'm so pleased. All the members, guys, I'm so happy. Tracy Webb, Eileen Hellaby, Shirley Jory, Stacey Hastart, James McCarthy, my mate, Judith Schoner, Philomena, Wicked Philina, who's got her own channel, Robin Gavid, Kathy Smith, Sue Shannon, Patricia Wingard, Jill Blue Bunny, Rosalind Finney, Tonna Logan. We've got All Stars 1964, who I keep forgetting the name. I'm so sorry. And then we've got Colleen. So, guys, I'm so pleased you're members. It really does matter to me. It shows me that you are giving me a pat on the back and you like what we're doing. So we're going to grow this, guys. We're going to get this membership to I want it to grow to thousands. I'm keeping it very cheap so that it's not an expensive thing for you guys. As cheap as they'll let me do it. I don't need the money for myself. I do think that the money I get from the memberships will probably help towards setting up this app, because I've got a feeling this app has a monthly fee. So I'm hoping the membership money will cover that app. I don't want any of the money for me. The money is not for me. We can pay for this app slowly, and then we could all join this app, and I think it'll be amazing. You imagine being able to talk to each other. It doesn't matter what country we're in, at any time of the day. You could all talk to each other. I can come on and do a lot more lives. I think it'd be brilliant. Really like the thought of it. Really like the thought of it. So please subscribe, guys. And if you're watching now and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. But join in. Join in. I want you to join in. So I'm going to read your comments. So Sue, hi Sue, Sue Shannon. We got the name right now, yeah, Sue. I get so sick of hearing that they were in love with each other's lives. Surely people know it's not true. They were civil, but they had a child together. I think. Do you know what I think, Sue? It's obvious the love was not the type of love that is long-lasting and heartfelt love. I think there was infatuation there. His good looks, her good looks. I think maybe them being apart in earlier years made them miss each other more, which might have been what brought them together. Yeah, you know what it's like when you miss someone, you yearn for someone. And I think there was an inquisitive side to Elvis that wondered what it would be like if she moved over to Graceland, if they lived together. I always think Elvis was smitten with Priscilla's looks. I really do. I think Elvis, I think he melted when he saw her physically because she was so beautiful. Now, it doesn't mean I think they were deeply in love. I just think there was a bit of infatuation there. And she did get more beautiful as she got older. So when she was 18, 19, 20, she was very, very beautiful. And I think Elvis was a sucker for that. Do I think Elvis was deeply in love with her? Probably not. I won't say he wasn't. Do I think there was love? Maybe a bit on and off. So we weren't there. We can only try and guess. So she was very beautiful and she knew how to. I definitely, Sue, I agree with that point. I think as she got older, no, even when she was a teenager, she knew how to use her good looks. She was the best looking girl in her town, in her school. Yeah. And all the men liked her, even the older men. So she just had that something that men turn heads to. And people like, some of you that don't like Priscilla probably don't like that being me saying that. Maybe people that dislike Priscilla don't like me saying that she was beautiful because you're angry at her and you resent her. But she was, guys. She was. We can't get away from it. Now, remember, I'm not a Priscilla hater, but I'm also not a Priscilla fan. Yeah. I do try to be fair to Priscilla, but I am an Elvis fan. I am an Elvis fan, so I will lean to Elvis. Yeah. Let's have a look. So Blue Bunny, hi Jill. If I want to help spread your channel around, so is your channel called Elvis Presley Daily or Elvis Presley Daily Defending Elvis Presley? Thanks. Right. Just so you know, guys, I made a spelling mistake on when I did put the name in. So it's Elvis Presley. It's Elvis Presley Daily. Search for the truth. But I've with the name, I have been trying to decide what we're going to call this channel. And now, because of this app I'm looking into, and I was looking into it this morning, I'm very much, I'm just trying to get the name up. I'm very much trying to pick a name for the app. So that I think that the channel should be called, the name is what the app's going to be called. So at the moment, I'm not allowed to change the name. Let's have a look. I'll just try if it lets me now. We'll do this together, guys. So I don't think it lets me change the name for about another 5 more days. I'm just going to try and see what happens. Let's see what happens. No, it's not letting me. It's saying I've got to wait another 5 more days. 5 more days. So I'm not going to decide on the name of the channel until the 5 days are up. Then it allows me to change the name. But I'm probably going to call it Defending Elvis Presley and then Fans Search for the Truth. So I'll type it in. I'll type it in, Defending Elvis Presley. Right. I'll just type it in. Fans Search for the Truth. Fans. But it's not set in concrete, guys. I know it's quite a long name. I'd like the name to be short, but it's difficult because I want to get in the words defending Elvis. I want that. It's important. I do think we have to have the word Presley in so that when people are doing Google searches and YouTube searches, that if they type in anything Presley, that it comes up. But I also want the people that are looking at our channel, remember this is our channel, know that we are searching for the truth. So we are researching. We are trying to get to the truth. So I personally, and I also want it to be very clear, and this to me is the most important thing, that this is fans. This is subscribers and Elvis fans. Really important. So I could only think that the new name will be Defending Elvis Presley, fans search for the truth. I won't use the word daily. So I think we're probably going to go with that. But if you are, so Jill, if at the moment you've got 5 days and it's 5 more days and it's called Elvis Presley Daily Fans Search for the Truth. Elvis Presley Daily Fans Search for the Truth. That's what it's called for 5 more days. And then I'll change it to the Defending Elvis. I hope that answers your question, Jill. Let's have a look. And like, guys, if you can share my channel and spread it, great. 'Cause we're having slow growth. So we're having 2 or 3 members are joining a day. We're having 10, 20 subscribers a day. The views are very steady. So we're having a gradual growth, which is fine. It's fine. I'm not in a rush. Every person will each have their own opinions on what went on. I think that stories are all different. It makes it hard to get to the truth. I only trust Billy Smith and Charlie Hodge. You know what? This morning, I've started watching more Memphis Mafia interviews because I'm trying to get a feel for because I think a lot of the Memphis Mafia interviews with all the different members are quite important to Elvis's image, the good and the bad things that were said. So I don't know if you can see in the background. No, you can't. But and I'll be honest with you, the ones I watched, I didn't like it. There was things being said by the Memphis Mafia, and these interviews were quite old. They were in the 80s. I didn't like it. I didn't like what they were saying. Didn't think it was fair to Elvis, and he wouldn't have liked it. So I'm where we are with my research is I am at the moment researching the Memphis Mafia, and that'll be some live streams coming up as I do the research. I'll be honest with you guys. You guys are messaging me every day with 10 different topics a day to research. And because I got the 5 kids and I'm helping my wife, I only have a certain amount of time where I can do research. So I'm squeezing it into the early in the morning before I come on here. And then maybe sometimes late afternoon if my wife has gone off with the kids. So my research times are quite little. Yeah, I understand. I know Billy Smith and Charlie Hodge are very trusted members of Elvis's, of the Memphis Mafia. Obviously, Billy's the cousin. Right, let's have a look. Where are we? Right, I just want to get back. Make sure it seems to jump up for some reason. So let's just bring it back down so we can read them. So we can read the comments. I didn't really have a subject today. I was more intending to read some of your comments that I've got on my phone because they're so good. Right, here we go. It's good that you're all talking to each other. I love that we're all becoming friends, aren't we? So Deborah. So morning, Deborah. So she had a plan in Germany for Elvis, then the same thing with every man since. Yeah. I think she's a smart lady, and how she chose her men, I think in my opinion, she was quite manipulative. I think you could be right, Deborah, couldn't you? Obviously, even with the Child Bride book, there's going to be some truth to it, isn't there? I think Elvis might have felt humiliated and didn't want the world to know, so went through the motions of the marriage. She got fed up and saw Mike Stone and was an escape plan. I think that sums it up. Perfect, Sue. I think that's exactly right. Yeah. But we can't ignore why she got fed up. We have to accept the reason she got fed up, because she got no attention and never saw Elvis. So we do have to be fair on that. We can't ignore what Elvis was doing. Even if he had good reason, he still was, very friendly with women after the marriage. But we know the circumstances of the time when she had the affair with Steve Peck, the dance instructor. So I'm trying to juggle. I'm trying to go, right, how do I be fair, even though I'm an Elvis fan? It's not easy, because I can tell you now, if I stand here now for half an hour and start trying to understand Priscilla's point of view, I'll lose 5 subscribers. A lot of you don't like me trying to see Priscilla's point of view, but I have to be fair. Even if it's going to cost me subscribers, I have to try and be fair. It's not easy, guys. I have to try and be kind and good-hearted, even though I'm an Elvis fan. So do you understand? It's a bit of a dilemma for me. Hi, Jane. Morning, Louis. It's too late to chat. Jane, it must be bedtime where you are, wherever you are. How can she go from Elvis to Mike Stone? Well, I think I answered that question, Jill, yesterday. I think that she was quite stifled after she'd been caught being unfaithful to Elvis in '68, in, I reckon, around early March. I think Elvis then had his eye on her. And so her only way out and to find opportunities to break away from Elvis was through things that she was doing, like karate lessons, because Elvis wanted her to do karate lessons. And I think when she saw Mike Stone, and she admitted this to him, I've got this in his interview, she fancied him as soon as she saw him. And I think that was the beginning of her plan. And her plan had to be within these different clubs, these different classes that she was doing. So her little way out the door was, Mike Stone, I'm allowed to have karate lessons. And I've learned she was having as many as 4 lessons a week. And she had to drive 55 minutes to get there and 55 minutes to drive home. So she pursued Mike Stone. But what I'm saying is that regarding your comment, he was this very powerful, strong man, a very athletic man. He was the top of his game. He was a champion of karate and famous within his own right. And I think she thought, that's my way out. He will stand up for me if I leave Elvis. If Elvis goes crazy, which we knew he was going to, well, Mike Stone is powerful enough to stand up to him. I think that is why she chose Mike Stone, even though obviously Elvis was a much better looking man, much sexier. He was her Goliath. Mike Stone was her Goliath that was going to break her away from Elvis. And she had a plan. And Mike Stone does say, when he met her and they would talk, she made it very clear. She had made up her mind. She was having her divorce. It was happening. By 71, mind, by 1971. And we've got this in his own interview coming out of his own mouth. So to me, it's proof. But we have to always say it's opinions. Hi, Linda. How are you? Morning to you. Just so you know, the time here in England is 9:38 a.m. Okay, so let's have a look. Priscilla in Germany wanted what she thought was the fairy tale. Once in it, it wasn't. She married the star, not the man. So, definitely, 100%. Was very young. Even if she did play the field, what's said in the Child Bride book, isn't it? That she was playing the field before she met Elvis, and she wasn't innocent. She wasn't a virgin. She had plenty of experiences with boys. This is what's all said in the Child Bride book. Yeah. So these are Suzanne Finstad's words that I'm saying to you. But that doesn't mean that she wasn't still very young. That she still was very immature. Yeah. Naive to the world. So yeah, she was infatuated with Elvis, and she had this dream of living her life with him and how that would unfold. And it was probably a fairy tale in her heart, in her mind. So yeah. And did she realize that trying to marry someone as famous as Elvis, that it was almost impossible for Elvis to even want to be married? Forget being faithful, forget only having one girlfriend. She was asking for an impossible task. She was asking the impossible. Oh, I'm going to get married to Elvis, live with Elvis, and Elvis is going to be faithful. It was almost the impossible. So she probably did feel a bit hurt during the movie years, but she had years to get out. But she stayed and married him and then betrayed him within weeks. Okay, Linda. So, Linda, I want you to know that I am an Elvis fan. So if I try and stick up for Priscilla, please don't be offended. Yeah, I'm just trying to see her point of view. Yeah. So she probably did feel a bit hurt during the movie years. Well, I would say, Linda, that Priscilla stuck in America, whichever house it was, and Elvis going away for 2-3 months at a time filming these movies, and they were beautiful co-stars, and then it was in all the tabloids and magazines that he was seeing these different girls. I would say it was more than a bit hurt. I would say it was traumatic for her. Now, that's not me trying to be with Priscilla. That's me saying, come on, let's be honest. Imagine you were in Graceland and Elvis would go off for 3 months to make a film, and you kept hearing reports that he's with other women. So I think to say feel a bit hurt is unfair. I think she was very hurt. But this might explain the resentment that was built up. So when she did finally get back at Elvis, she was so cruel with it. Yeah. So we're trying to understand, why did she become so cruel, so cunning, so blatant and so public with Elvis's embarrassment? And I think it's because there was a lot of hurt happening in the earlier years when Elvis was away, and she didn't feel she was getting the attention that she craved from Elvis, and that and when he did come back, he was spending a lot of his time with the Memphis Mafia. So I really do think that we had a woman who was living with Elvis that felt very alone. I really believe that, guys. And that's just me trying to be fair. So, but she had years to get out, and I accept that. She could have gone at any time. And many of you say this, in your comments, many of you say she just could have gone and she would have been out of it. She wouldn't have been to have to face any more of this lifestyle that Elvis lived. But come on, who's going to leave Elvis Presley? Who's going to leave Elvis Presley? Nobody. And leave him for what? What life was she going to go back to? The life she was going to go back to was very normal, in a normal house with her parents. She wasn't going to go back to her old life. She was living a life of luxury. She was living like a member of the royal family, wasn't she? She was living like the Kennedys. She suddenly was in a mansion, different houses and cars, and they're experiencing amazing things. Because she had a fantastic time with Elvis. They did many, many things together, a lot of traveling as well, and holidays. So when you say, but she had years to get out, would you have, if you were Linda, seriously, if you were there, and you had the opportunity to get out, would you have? Don't forget, she's also hanging on to hope that Elvis will change and be faithful, married, and have kids. So that's my comment, Linda. I know you probably won't like it, but I won't be dishonest with you guys. I will speak my mind, how I feel. Even Sue agrees with you. But I hope that I'm just trying to get you guys to understand my way of thinking. How can they be shocked? He died. His last performance, you could tell he was near death. She's heartless to go after him for the money. And she obviously didn't care about Lisa's feelings and making her move. Yeah, I can, Jill, I 100% agree with that comment. 100%. You've hit the nail on the head. Then the only feeling Priscilla cared about was her own. So that's from Deborah. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to agree with that. She put herself first. I think that's right. And Blue Bunny agrees with you. Jill agrees with you. So we got CO in Kerryville, Texas, saying goodbye to Kinky Friedman. Kinky Friedman? What? Right. Let me just Google that. How are you today, then, CO? Let's have a look. All right. So he is. All right. So he died. Kinky Friedman was an American singer-songwriter. I'm guessing you're a fan. I actually don't know anything about him. Know nothing about him. But rest in peace, Kinky Friedman. She's still the same way today. Yeah, I agree with you guys. A lot of the decisions she makes are very cold, very selfish, make no sense. We know that the way she's grieving over Lisa Marie is very odd. And the fact that she's still very ambitious at 79, going around the world making money, signing autographs for cash. That's not what we want as fans from a mother that has lost her daughter. It doesn't ring right with us, and it drives us all mad. We don't understand it. Let's have a look. So Blue Bunny. I watched that last night, and you could see he tried so hard, but he was so unwell. He loved his fans so much, and he was willing to do a concert while so unwell. Yeah, he wanted to keep the fans happy. And like someone mentioned a comment to me, I think it was yesterday. Someone asked, why did Elvis still carry on with these last few performances? And the reply was he wanted to. He wanted to do those last performances. And he bids farewell to the crowd, doesn't he? And the other thing they say is that he brought his father Vernon on and introduced him to the audience. And he said that he almost never did that. So it's almost like Elvis had a feeling that the end was close. Right, his fans were, yeah, I agree. Elvis put his fans first. Completely agree with that. So he was very vulnerable when he met her after his mother's death. Yes, Jane, I agree with that. She met him at the best time she could meet him. She had him to herself, one-on-one. He was worried about his future. He was insecure about how good he could be an actor and the type of movies, how good he could be, even though he'd already made a few. And he thought he was going to be forgotten. He didn't know if the public were going to forget him. And he was still grieving over his poor mother, wasn't he? And he was in a strange land, wasn't he? In Germany, away from home. I know he had friends and family around him, but she met him at the perfect time, and got under his skin. Definitely got under his skin. And Elvis was going to bring her over at some point. He wanted to. There was something that kept bringing him back. Oh, that girl Priscilla. That girl I met, Priscilla. Yeah. So Deborah says it was so unfair. Let's have a look. Let's go back. I'm trying to go through these comments. Let's have it. Right. So Deborah, I have been watching them also, Alita, and I didn't like it. It is the truth. Yeah. I'm very uncomfortable with these interviews with the Memphis Mafia. I just don't like it. These are supposed to be loyal friends that loved him. But I don't know. It's almost like they go out of their way to make him look bad. But then they try and cover it up by saying lots of good things. 10 good things, 5 bad things. That's not a friend. Friend doesn't do that. But I fully accept that it's not all of the Memphis Mafia. The word dirty doesn't have it. Blue Bunny, I know that. Once I typed the name in, it wouldn't let me change it. But 5 more days, we're going to sort it. If you follow her track record with these men, she had more than they did. However, she needed something. And once she got what she needed, she left them to go stepping. Yeah, I agree, Deborah. Yeah. And we've done a few live streams with her dating history, but I want to do some more because I want to break down each man and go into detail of each man. So, like Robert Kardashian and like Marco Garibaldi and all the different ones. Even how she met Richard Gere and Mike Edwards. Just I want to sort of get a more of an understanding why she chose each man. Because I think the more we delve into Priscilla, the more we understand why she treated Elvis so badly. So I think we have to understand Priscilla to understand the mistakes that, or should I say the wrongdoing towards Elvis. I think that'd be quite an interesting live as well. So Jane, I'm late. I am from the UK, but I've lived permanently in Spain. Hi, Jane. How are you going? Thanks for being a member. All of you guys that are members, thank you so much. It does mean a lot to me. And Jane is a new member, because Jane joined yesterday. You're very welcome, Jane. Thank you. And I say good morning to you. Mike Stone was a snake. I tell you what, Eric. Hi, Eric. Tell me where you're from. Are you new? I've watched the interviews with Mike Stone, and I agree. He was a snake. And the excuses he makes for the affair are a joke. Don't forget, he was married with a kid. He may have had more than one kid. I know he had a little girl, but he may have had more than one kid. I don't know for definite. But his excuse for the relationship, even though it broke up 2 families, so obviously Elvis's family and his own family, is that nobody owns anybody. No human owns another human. It's just such a load of rubbish. It's all guru bullshit. So when I hear him saying that, and I've seen him say it in quite a few interviews, I didn't take Priscilla. I didn't take Priscilla. Priscilla didn't belong to anyone. She was no one's possession. It's just such a load of crap. Shut up. Sorry. I'm not a fan of Mike Stone. I am not a fan of Mike Stone. Nadia, how are you? So, Deborah, right. Elvis believes that she was a virgin. I agree. 100% Elvis thought she was a virgin. 100%. So imagine how he felt on the wedding night, guys. The classes were just a couple for her affair with Stone. A cover for her affair with Stone. Wicked Felina, where have you been? We haven't seen you for a few days. We've missed you. Where have you been? Don't forget, Wicked Felina has a lovely YouTube channel. Please check her out. It's a lovely channel. She wanted sex and romance. Elvis wanted a different type of wife and woman. So the classes were just a cover-up for her affair with Stone, and she wanted sex and romance. Elvis wanted a different type of wife and woman. So I fully agree. Fully agree with that, Felina. She didn't want cry lessons. She went out of her way as many as 4 times a week. She drove nearly an hour each way because she had made a plan to get Mike Stone. She was going to get him, yeah? And she sought him out. And then Elvis wanted a different type of woman. I do think, Felina, once Elvis realized that she wasn't as innocent as he thought she was, which I think he realized it once the affair was found out with Steve Peck, the dance instructor, the guy who owned the dance studio. He knew she was no innocent virgin. He knew there was a dark side to Priscilla. He knew that he had been conned, that Priscilla wasn't this whitewash person. That's the wrong way of putting it. This, what's the word? This innocent person that she'd made out to be and that she had tricked him. I believe that. That's just my opinion. Great comment, Felina. Priscilla always plays the poor widow. She certainly does, Eric. Eric, where are you from? She isn't the widow. She is the ex-wife. And this is such a massive thing that keeps getting brought up over and over again. She acts like the grieving widow. Whenever you see her being interviewed and she's like, oh, he was the love of my life. It infuriates people because she humiliated him. And when they had a divorce, it was a public humiliation. And also the way that the divorce was handled, where it nearly bankrupted Elvis, where it forced him to sell his recording rights and made him very even more unwell, I think. And at the same time as the Memphis Mafia book was brought out, and the way that this deed of trust was placed on the Graceland property, it's just beyond me, guys. And she sort of, I still love him, and it was hard to bear. When he died, I didn't know how I was going to live without him. Come on, you were in bed with another man. I don't want to sound too crude, but, you wanted to get naked with Mike Stone. Come on, let's say it how it is. You fancied the pants off Mike Stone. And let's be real, not, oh, I still love Elvis, even though I've had 20 boyfriends. And oh, by the way, one of them I had a child with and I was with him for over 20 years. But it's Elvis that I love. It's like, it doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't add up. And people like Piers Morgan fall for it. And then the interviewers, whenever she's being interviewed for the last 40 years, they're all believing it. They're all like, oh, you poor you, you must be lost without Elvis. How have you managed to live without Elvis? How have you coped? We're not stupid. The fans are not stupid. I'll tell you who's stupid. The interviewers, the tabloids, the magazines, they've all fallen for it. They've all fallen for this fake fairy tale. They're the stupid ones. We're not stupid, guys. We know. We see through it. Right, and she was very young, time away from... Yeah, Nadia, you bring this up, but it was different times. Yes, she was very young, but it was different day. You have to put yourself back in the 50s, 60s. It was very normal for a man in his 20s to date a teenager, even though we wouldn't accept it now. I wouldn't accept it, but then it was different. So we've got Sue Shannon. I agree, Deborah. He was in a very vulnerable state. I don't think he ever got over the loss of his mum and had a deep hole that he tried to fill with all the different women. Yeah, great comment, Sue. And I think he felt that way to the very end, till the very end. So let's have a look. And she's, so naturally, because he's a lawyer, yes. So are we talking about Richard Kardashian? Is that who we're talking about? So every woman he loved had pieces of his mother in them. Yeah, I can see that. That's a lovely comment, Deborah. I like some of his ex-girlfriends. I like Linda. I'm not keen on Ginger. I'm sorry, guys. I just tend to look at the interviews. I look at the body language and how they come across. I'll be honest with you. They all wanted his money. They all wanted his money. They all wanted the cars, the houses, and their parents' mortgages paid off. But there's certain ones that I like the way they talk about him, and Linda's one of them. But I don't want to sound cruel, but they were all money grabbers. Every one of them. Every one of them. I hope that doesn't come across too mean. I'm not offended at all by your opinion, Louis. I do know, unfortunately, how she must have felt. I've been there, but she was so cruel the way she acted after she left public. Yes, Linda, brilliant comment. Yeah, I fully agree with that. Fully agree. We've all been hurt, guys. We've all had heartache. We've all been through some quite traumatic breakups in our younger years, haven't we? It's tough. It's when your partner is unfaithful. I've definitely had partners, not my wife has been amazing, but I had girlfriends before my wife, and I know what it's like to be heartbroken and you have no say in it. It's just going to happen whether you like it or not. So I know you know how it feels, Linda. We all do. But thanks for sharing that. And yeah, he was publicly humiliated, as bad as it gets. It was but with the way she did it, it was as bad as it gets, because she would go out with Lisa Marie and Mike Stone, and they would go shopping. They would go to the fair with Lisa Marie, and it's there being put in magazines and tabloids and sometimes on news clips. Very, very cruel. My heart goes out to Elvis just thinking about it. So we have Eric, who's in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, Eric, welcome to our community. Please subscribe. Really important, guys, that you subscribe so that we get to know each other. And let me know your name and where you're from. And we've just met Eric. I'm so pleased you've joined us, Eric. Obviously, I encourage any of you to join. Please join. Let's have a look. So Mike Stone was pregnant when he left her for Priscilla. Mike Stone's wife was pregnant when he left her for Priscilla. Well, Deborah, I think he also had a child. And I'll tell you why. Because when I watched his interview yesterday, he said he had a 6-year-old daughter. So he was... it's possible he had more than one child. I don't actually know. I have tried to look it up. What do you think, Deborah? Elvis was packed her bags and asked the guide to take her to the plane and take back to her parents. Yes, I think that did happen. I'm not sure if we know it happened, but I think it did happen, Patricia. I hope you're okay, Patricia. Morning to you. So let's have a look. We're catching up. So let's have a look. So we've got Blue Bunny, Jill, Loretta Lynn married at 13 or 14. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with marriage at that age, but I just know that in the 50s and 60s, I think even a bit 70s, that girls got married very young, and girls were treated, if they weren't married by 21, they were on the shelf. Isn't that right, guys? Girls, you know, how was it for you in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? If you hadn't been married off by 21, you were classed as being on the shelf back then. Is that correct? So thanks, Blue Bunny. And I'm not a Ginger fan either. She wanted the money. I've watched the interviews. She comes across lovely, and there's been some recent interviews. There was one on loose women in the UK, and I wasn't there. I don't know Ginger. I wasn't with Elvis when that relationship was happening. I've seen loads of interviews talking about when Ginger and Elvis were together from all different people. Yeah, I know Billy Smith couldn't stand her. Yeah, but I'm not buying into it. I don't think it was a proper engagement. I don't think Elvis was going to marry her. I don't think they were going to have kids. I know that she didn't live with him. You guys have strong views about the fact that she was asleep when Elvis died. And I personally think, but I don't know, this is only opinion, that we're not hearing the whole truth. And I also have heard there was a lot of financial benefit for Ginger, yeah? And didn't this even carry on after, you tell me, guys, after Elvis died, wasn't Ginger trying to get her parents' mortgage paid off? Did Linda also do that? You tell me, guys, because I'm learning from you. And I'm not convinced. And she was way too young for him. She was only 20, wasn't she? And I heard she liked to go out partying. I've even had comments sent to me that she had a boyfriend that she was secretly seeing as well. So, even when she talks about the way he proposed to her, I don't know. I just don't find it very believable. But I could be wrong, guys. And maybe every word she says is true. I will say this. She always speaks highly of Elvis. I like that. She speaks very upbeat about him, that he was still happy, that he still was upbeat and looking forward to the coming tour. and he was fun to be with, and he wasn't as fat as they say, that he was much thinner than the world says he was. She says that the image that Elvis that has been portrayed about Elvis as being this fat druggie is not true. So I like it when I hear her saying these positive things, and I'm sure that her book's very interesting, very interesting. So I'm trying to be fair. I don't dislike Ginger. I'm not saying that. I have views on Ginger. Yeah, so Eric says Ginger seemed to have the brain of a child. I do think she was very young and very immature. I do think that. She seems lovely. She seems a beautiful, worldly woman. But back then, it's different, isn't it? Let's have a look where we are. All right, I can't believe we've been on here for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to have to go soon, but I'm going to get through these comments. I haven't even had the chance to read your comments. Right, that's funny. Let's have a look. So we are. So Jane. So we've got Patricia Jane. She even came out in a book saying Priscilla broke up my family. Who did that? Sorry, have I missed a comment? I think I may have missed a comment. Let's go back a little bit. Loretta Lynn married at 13. Elvis packed her bags. Loretta. Let me just put in Loretta Lynn. Should I know who Loretta Lynn is? I'm learning with you guys. Right, let's see what comes up. All right, there's a singing. She's come up. He told me how to smoke. She also knows that she never got to meet Elvis Presley. We were going to write together 2 weeks before he died. Right, apparently Elvis and Loretta Lynn were going to write songs together. So I'm not really sure. I get it. She's a singer. Let's have a look. 5 things we learned about Loretta Lynn. Let's see what it says. Let's see what the 5 things are, if it lets me. No. You're going to have to tell me, guys. What's the story with Loretta Lynn? Okay, so let's have a look. Right. The comments, she was even came out with a book saying Priscilla broke up my family. I'm not sure what that comment is. She did write a book. So I'm lost here. Who wrote a book? Was it Ginger we're talking about? Deborah, you're right. Ginger seemed to have a brain of a child. Then we've got his ego with the world knowing. Yeah. So hard for him, Jill. Yes, he did have a child as well. Yes, he did have yeah, but it could have been 2. I'd like to look into this. So she went on Facebook and said this. I read that he told Billy Smith, Jane Treenall. I read that she told Billy Smith that he wasn't going to marry Ginger despite what she wrote in her book. And I've seen that, Jane. Thank you. Yes. So Colleen, yeah. Girls were put on the shelf way too young. It's not right. I actually think women start getting more beautiful in their 30s. I think women carry on getting beautiful. My wife is 41 and she's stunning. And she was 22 when I met her. And I tell you what, I would say she's more beautiful now, my wife. Let's have a look. Yes, so yeah, you were considered old, weren't you? So Jane got married at 19. Well, there we are. See, That's what I'm trying to say, is that it was just different, guys. 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It was just different. And people, that's why now when they put it in the papers now about age differences, they don't realize that it's 2024 now. It's different rules. Every marriage had hard times. I'm coming from a marriage of abuse, and I still stayed 13 years. My son was only a year old, and I don't want my son to have that kind of life. Deborah, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. Now, to try and not talk about me, my father was abusive to my mother. He was. So, and I had to go through my life and witness that. Now, so I know how you feel, Deborah. But it was good for me, because when I become an adult, I knew you do not hit kids, you do not hit your wife, you do not hit women. I really am against any hitting of children and women massively. I have never hit any of my kids or my wife. I never would. But I think that the reason I'm like that is because I witnessed it growing up. Yeah. Don't forget, I grew up in the 70s, and it was considered okay to hit a child, to hit your wife in the 70s, even though you and me know it's completely wrong. It's so wrong on so many levels. And I have a difficult time with my father's memory because of it. Very hard for me to forget that my poor mum was hit by my, so I completely understand your comment, Deborah. Ginger did have a boyfriend, behind Elvis's back, and I keep hearing this. I'd love to have some proof, though. We need proof. Billy said that he only stayed with one girlfriend for 5 years and moves on after what Priscilla did to him, and he would never marry again. But this is from Billy, and I think that's. I don't think it's I don't think you can say 5 years, but I agree that Elvis would get bored. And the girls would get fed up. So, and Billy may be right that he had no intention of marrying Ginger, but I do know that Billy definitely did not like Ginger, because I've seen him say it too many times. So that will affect his comments, won't it? Saying that Elvis would never have married Ginger, but he hates her or dislikes her. Sorry, I won't use the word likes her. I have to take his comment with a pinch of salt, but it is possible. So I've heard that too. Yes, Billy did say 5 years he would never marry, and I believe him. I don't know, but do I think Elvis was ever going to get married again? I think if he had got his health back, because he was only 42. Now, if he had turned his life around and got his health back, I believe Elvis could have got married again and had more children. I really believe that. Don't we all want that? Don't we all wish that could have happened? I believe Ginger only says so much. She keeps things secret. Yeah, I think there's stuff we don't know, isn't there, Nadia? Mike Stone, let's have a look. Right. So, okay. Loretta Lynn is big in country music. I should know that, shouldn't I? Really, but I don't. So Priscilla was so jealous of Lisa Marie because Elvis paid so much attention to his daughter that Priscilla's starting to hate her. But don't forget, she told everyone she never wanted Lisa Marie. So even with that, Patricia, how can I say it? I understand that some mothers are jealous of the daughters and the attentions they get from their father. I think it's more common than we think. But when I see the interviews of Priscilla and Lisa Marie together in the earlier years, so in the really in the 90s and the noughties, they seem to be getting on really well. They seem to be like little buddies. I think it's as Lisa Marie got older and started discovering all the wrongdoing that Priscilla did, that's when I think things change. Yeah. So I actually think that in the earlier years, they had some good times together. Maybe not in her rebellious teenage years when Priscilla chucked her into Scientology, which was just so wrong, so cruel. You know I'm against Scientology. So I actually think Priscilla and Lisa's friendship was very on-off, very on-off. But towards the end, I think it was completely broken and ruined. I think Lisa Marie couldn't stand her in the end, didn't want to be around her. So, and I also think Lisa Marie found out things about Priscilla that she hated and shocked her and made her very upset and angry with Priscilla. So I totally agree. I've wanted to set up but never have the guts. Am I missing something? I totally agree. I wanted to set up but never have the guts. I'm not sure what you mean. Right, so we've got, yeah, it was wrong. Right. Okay, right, we're on the, right. Sorry, I'm a bit behind, aren't I? I'm still trying to go through them all. I want to make sure I address all your comments. Right, so that. Oh, it's okay, Sue. Right. Elvis' question to a friend, his relationship with Ginger, asking his friend, what am I doing wrong? Like, why isn't she into me? I think Elvis got engaged with Ginger to keep her around. Yeah, and I've seen some of these comments, Jill, because she was going off partying, wasn't she? And she wanted Elvis to go with her, but he just didn't want to. He just didn't want to go out partying. That's the age difference, isn't it? And Elvis was unwell as well. Come on, let's face it. In 77, he was and 76. I think she met him late 76. He was very poorly. He had very serious health conditions, many, twisted colon and serious constipation and heart problems, high blood pressure, and autoimmune problems with twisted colon and glaucoma. I read a comment yesterday that when they tried to fix his glaucoma, they injected a needle right into the center of his eye. The center of his eye. Could you imagine that? Ugh. Poor Elvis. I agree. No, yeah, you don't hit women and kids. If I hit my wife, she'd have a total shock because we've been together for 19 years and I've never been like that. She'd probably hit me actually. My wife is stronger than me. My kids, they just know I'm not like that. They know I'm a big softie. My kids have got me under their thumb, guys. Even if I shout, I feel bad. I can't even shout at my kids. So my mother did the hitting, and once I became a mum, I could imagine picking up a weapon and hitting a 4-year-old. I couldn't imagine picking up a weapon and hitting a 4-year-old. I think if you go through it, it makes you a better parent. And it definitely did me, Colleen. Thanks for that comment, Colleen. It definitely did me. It completely turned me against. And unfortunately, the way that a father hit a child in the 70s, they did use, I'm not sure if I'll call it a weapon, but they did use objects to hit you. Very cruel, and even as young as 4 years old. I don't even want to think about it. There is a lot that is still kept secret. But thanks for that comment, Colleen. At the end of his life, it said Elvis wanted to make big changes like firing Tom Parker. Yeah, I've heard it hundreds of times, Nadia. Hundreds of times. I wish he did. We all do, don't we? We all wish that Elvis pursued that part of his life. Blue Bunny Jill, Elvis also said to Billy Smith that if he ever married Ginger, he'd have to marry her whole family, and because they all liked his money. Yeah, he's too generous, wasn't he? He would meet someone, then he'd want to fix their life. Oh, I'll buy you this, I'll buy you that, I'll fix your parents, I'll fix your brother, fix your sister, I'll fix your uncles and aunties. Elvis was just so nice. It's crazy. I love it. I love how nice Elvis was. Elvis wanted full custody of Lisa Marie, asking the Memphis Mafia guys if he would have a chat if he got married. All right, okay. That's interesting. Interesting. Patricia, is there proof he wanted full custody? Yeah, we like the proof, don't we, Nadia? We like the proof. Thanks, Jill. Oh, yes, Patricia, I read that, but not sure what the Memphis Mafia it was. Right, okay. Billy Smith and the rest of the Memphis Mafia. Nadia, right, okay. The person I would like to talk to is Lisa Marie's nanny. Oh, right, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. That'd be a good interview, wouldn't it? Good point, Deborah. Yes, he wanted full custody. Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised that he wanted full custody because she was dumped. She was, what's the word? She was off having her affairs and living her life, running her shop, and Biss and Bo, wherever it is. It's not even a good name. Does anyone like the name Biss and Bo? It's a crap name for a blooming clothing salon. Biss and Bo, what is that? Biss and Bo. Sounds like Bill and Ben, Bill and Ben, Bill and Ben, the flower pot men. Biss and Bo. And it went bust, and Elvis paid for it all. Elvis got her out of debt. Let's have a look. My mother liked sticks. Yeah, not nice, is it, Colleen? And actually, when in the British schools, when I was a kid, they used a cane. And we would get caned in the 70s by the school teachers. So it sticks, it stings, doesn't it, Colleen? It bloody stings and it leaves a red line. Well, I don't even want to say what my dad used. It's, ugh. Right, Lisa was a lonely child once her dad passed away. Yeah. I think Elvis was with Ginger because he was afraid to be alone at the end. Yes, we know Elvis always wanted company. He loved company. And many people and many things I've watched say that Elvis didn't want sex at the end. The medication was affecting that too much. He just wanted someone to sit and read with and keep him company. He loved reading the Bible with people. And there's quite a few people that have said this that were with him, that it wasn't about the sex in the end. Elvis was a fantastic human being and the greatest entertainer in the world that we ever know. He was. But we, on this channel, I like to think that we see past the fact that he was beautiful and amazingly talented. I like to think that we look at his personality and the good he did for people. Yeah. He was just a lovely guy, wasn't he, guys? He was just a lovely person, a really good-hearted, kind man that wanted to help everyone, wanted to help the world, wanted to help strangers, and that he didn't want all the money for himself. He wanted to give his money all away. He didn't see the money as for him. It was, right, who can I help? Which families can I help? How can I pay for everyone around me? How can I pay for their lives? It was always about other people with Elvis, always. And his attitude was, I'll just go and do another tour, get some more money. Because when Vernon tried to stop him from spending so much money, Elvis would be like, oh, no, it's okay, I'll just do another tour. So that's just how he was. Just how many famous people do you know that spend their life giving away their fortune, helping other people, helping charities, helping friends and family, helping girlfriends' families, helping, buying everyone cars and motorbikes and horses? How many have you ever heard of anyone that did that? I haven't. The amount of money he gave to charity is unbelievable. He didn't live for himself. He lived for everyone else. He put himself second, always, right to the day he died. Right. So I am going to have to go in a minute. Let's have a look. I've got to take my daughter's packed lunch to the school. All right, I'll come now. I'm going to have to go in 5 minutes. Right. I've got to take her packed lunch to school. We're at the end anyway. So my cousin was abused by her mum, always flicking her in the head, making her feel unloved. My cousin, great mum, didn't want to be like her mum. So kudos to you, Louis, for being a great dad. Oh, thanks. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to say I'm the best dad in the world, because I'm not. But I'm a kind dad. I am a kind dad. I'm very soft, and they've got me under the thumb, and that's just how I am. I can't help it. Yeah, that's my nature. Are you so right? We lost something. So Elvis gave endlessly. Yeah. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Hope to see everyone soon. I wish that people would talk about how talented, what an amazing human being he was, but all the way do is talk about drugs and weight, and he's so much, and so much more. Yeah, I love talking about how great Elvis was. In this book, Elvis, what happened? They make out that he was giving things to buy favors. Yeah, they probably do. Come on. Why are we all talking about Elvis now, all these years later? Because he was so amazing on so many levels. He was a 1 in a billion. We all know that. I'm going to have to take the packed lunch to school. I've loved this chat, actually, guys. I've been a bit tired this morning. And we've had a very laid back, nice chat as friends, just talking about the person that we love. I've really enjoyed it. It's actually helped me. It's made me feel good. It's put a bit of a smile on my face. I really appreciate it. So please subscribe. Any new people that are watching now, please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you know when we come together. I want you to join, guys. Please become members. It's $1 a month. And you can cancel at any time. And it just makes me feel good. I want to build up this membership. I am on a mission to get this membership going. So God bless to you all. I send love to you all. We've had a brilliant time. I got to go. My wife's going to tell me off. And I will be back on later. Take care.